Making headlines this hour, the Shangri-La Willingili Resort in Addo City reopens after 5 years, welcoming its first tourists. Ministry of Economic Development and Trade announces plans to establish storage facilities in 3 regions of the country to provide affordable warehousing storage facilities to SMEs. The Civil Service Regulations is amended to suspend retirement pensions for former civil servants who return to public service after retirement.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Idham Naim. The Shangri-La Willingili Resort in Addo City reopens after 5 years, welcoming its first tourists. The resort initially closed in April 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic and announced its official closure in August 2020, affecting over 500 employees. The reopening fulfills a presidential pledge made by President Dr. Mohammad Moizu. To facilitate the resort's reopening, the Ministry of Tourism and Environment, coordinated with the resort's management, conducted inspections, identified necessary repairs, and issued the required permits. Recruitment of staff had been underway since early November to prepare for the reopening. In November, President Dr. Mohammad Moizu visited the site to inspect progress ahead of its opening. The reopening is expected to boost Addo City's economy, create new jobs, and revive tourism in the region. President Dr. Mohammad Moizu, by a presidential decree, officially amends the list of nations' inhabited islands to facilitate the ongoing resettlement of Hirimaradu residents to Hanimadu in Hadal Atoll. The amendment ensures that the electoral rights of the relocated citizens are protected during the upcoming local council elections, where the decree directly addresses the administrative needs arising from the resettlement process, which will overlap with the election period. In accordance with law, citizens in the process of being resettled are deemed to be electors of their new island. Consequently, the decree designates Hanimadu as the electoral constituency for all Hirimaradu residents, enabling the Elections Commission of Maldives (ECM) to accurately prepare the voters' registry for the polls scheduled for 4th April 2026. This governmental action, taken under the authority of the Decentralization Act, follows a request from Hirimardu's resident community for improved living conditions. The Ministry of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure has stated that the project guarantees adequate housing and modern facilities for all residents resettled in Hanimadu, ensuring no one is left without a home. The move will be officially complete upon the government's announcement that all residents have been registered in Hanimadu, at which point Hirimaradu will be declared uninhabited. The Maldivian government reiterates its firm support for the One China policy, recognizing the People's Republic of China as the sole legitimate government representing all of China and viewing Taiwan as an integral part of Chinese territory. In a statement, the government said this position has been consistently upheld since the Maldives and China established diplomatic relations in 1972. It described the policy as reflecting the country's long-standing commitment to sovereignty, territorial integrity, and a mutual respect among nations. The statement added that the Maldives believes in non-interference in the internal affairs of states and the peaceful coexistence of nations. Principles, it said, remain central to its foreign policy. The government also expressed concern over actions by certain parties that it said undermine these principles and interfere in the internal matters of sovereign states. Reaffirming its bilateral ties, the Maldives said it remains committed to strengthening its long-standing friendship and partnership with China based on trust, mutual benefit, and shared goals of peace and sustainable development. The Waste Management Corporation, WEMCO, announces that it will reduce waste disposal fees for the small and medium enterprises, SMEs, starting from February. The fee reduction follows a decision by President Dr. Mohammad Moise to adjust the existing waste disposal fee bands for SMEs. The move comes in response to concerns raised by SMEs about the high cost of waste disposal during a recent meeting with the President, after which the President instructed WEMCO to implement a desirable change. WEMCO is currently in discussions on new fee bands to implement the reduction. The updated bands will be announced in the coming days. The Minister of Economic Development and Trade, Mohammad Saeed, announces that the Cabinet has established new benchmarks to drive economic prosperity across key sectors in the coming year.
Speaking at the 63rd anniversary celebration of the national radio, Devehira Rajya Adu, Minister said the government has designated 2026 as the year of Maldives' productivity, a renewed effort to accelerate progress toward the nation's long-term development goals. Minister Saeed emphasized that achieving developed nation status by 2040 requires consistent economic growth of 5 to 6% per capita annually. To meet this target, the government will implement sector-specific performance standards while encouraging reforms in national institutions, including media, to engage youth and workers in development efforts. He urged citizens to embrace a collective vision for a fully developed Maldives, highlighting the critical role of accurate information and media in shaping perceptions and driving progress. Public Service Media, or PSM Managing Director Ahmed Shakib, echoed the sentiment, praising President Dr. Mohammad Moise's commitment to media modernization. He expressed confidence in PSM's growth under the current leadership and called for continued unity in preserving national identity. The anniversary event also recognized winners of the Children's News Reading Competition and the Poetry Competition, alongside the selection of the audience's favorite radio presenter.
The Ministry of Economic Development and Trade announces plans to establish storage facilities in 3 regions of the country to provide affordable warehouse and storage facilities to small and medium enterprises, SMEs.
The ministry said a series of measures are being undertaken in line with President Dr. Mohammad Moise's decision to introduce special support over the next 2 years to promote SMEs. The ministry noted that during a meeting with SME owners and the President on 17th December, entrepreneurs had voiced several concerns, including a lack of affordable storage space. To address these concerns, the government has decided to establish storage facilities for SMEs in Male, Addo City and Kudafushi City to provide affordable storage and warehousing of goods. Further details will be announced in the coming days. The ministry further said it is taking necessary steps to ensure faster clearance of cargo at ports operated by Maldives Ports Limited, as well as strengthen management of cargo vessels operating in the sea. In addition, issues related to quota allocation has been resolved through registering businesses that rent accommodation for Maldivians and work permit holders. Measures have already been implemented, including extending the demurrage-free period for imported goods from 80 hours to 124 hours and increasing cargo clearance service hours from 18 hours.
The Maldives Culture and Food Festival commences to celebrate the achievements of the tourism industry this year and to welcome the new year. The festival is organized by the Visit Maldives Corporation, the Ministry of Tourism and Environment and the Housing Development Corporation, HDC. The festival, which runs from 30th December until 1st January, will feature a range of activities. Food stalls offer a variety of dishes for food lovers, while activities for children of all ages are also available. Similar to last year, a special drone show is scheduled to be held this year as well. The festival will also feature fireworks and performances showcasing the Maldives' rich culture. In a move to ensure transparency and editorial independence, the Minister of Youth, Empowerment, Information and Arts, Ibrahim Wahid, assures that the government will play no role in the allocation of state funds to private media outlets.
During a press conference held at the President's office, Minister Ibrahim Wahid clarified that the process has been entirely delegated to the Maldives Media and Broadcasting Commission, MMBC, the industry's independent regulatory body. According to the minister, the MMBC has identified a list of 41 eligible media outlets and established the necessary procedures for fund distribution. Acknowledging previous criticism, the minister stated he accepts reports that the ministry's initial handling of the process was suboptimal, leading to the decision to transfer full responsibility to the Commission. He stated that his ministry now acts solely as an intermediary, forwarding the MMBC's finalized list and payment instructions directly to the Ministry of Finance and Planning without any additions or alterations. To ensure full public transparency, the minister has also requested a detailed breakdown from the MMBC, specifying the amount each outlet is said to receive alongside the criteria used for allocation. The Financial Assistance Program, a key campaign pledge of President Dr. Mohammad Muiz, aims to promote and support a vibrant private media sector. A total of $1.8 million, equivalent to 0.1% of the state budget, has been earmarked for this initiative this year.
The Ministry of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure announces that applications for land and flats under the government's Housing for All policy will open on 15th January and remain available until 14th April.
The decision follows revisions to the housing program guidelines after considering public feedback from consultations led by President Dr. Mohammad Muiz and submissions to the ministry. Key changes include expanded eligibility. Families allocated a one-bedroom government housing unit with children under 18 can now apply for a three-bedroom flat, while those with a two-bedroom unit and children of both sexes under 18 may also upgrade, provided they agree to vacate their current property as required. Additionally, applicants whose spouses own land or homes outside the Greater Malé area, even exceeding 400 square feet, remain eligible. The program allocates 15,000 residential plots across urban, non-urban, and special priority categories. Land in Greater Malé and Ras Malé will prioritize residents of Malé, while residents from other islands will only be eligible for land allocation from Ras Malé, with 1,000 plots and 1,000 flats reserved for Malé City Registry applicants. A further 7,900 flats will be distributed, 4,000 for Malé residents, 1,500 for rural residents, and 2,400 for special priority groups, including families with disabilities, elderly dependents, or minor children. The ministry emphasized that the policy aims to ensure social security and equitable housing access for all Maldivians. Previous announcements from the 17th of November have been rescinded with the gazetting of this update guideline.
In a significant policy shift, the Ministry of Education will place special priority on ethics and moral upbringing within the secondary education system starting next academic year. The announcement was made by the Minister of Education, Dr. Ismail Shafiu, in an interview with PSM News, emphasizing that true education extends beyond academics and must be a collective societal effort. The goal is to ensure students are taught.
The announcement was made by the Minister of Education.
The goal is set to ensure students are taught good manners, positive characteristics, and strong moral values. This initiative is being undertaken under the special guidance of President Dr. Mohammad Muiz. The minister elaborated on the broader vision, stating that Maldives' economy is driven by welcoming tourists, making it imperative for locals to show good customs and good morals. In a related move to support this focus on a distraction-free learning environment, President Muiz had recently announced a strict policy on mobile phone use in schools. Beginning next year, students under grade 10 will be prohibited from bringing phones to school, while A-level students will be permitted to bring their devices but must store them in a special locker during school hours. The ministry confirmed it is now working to take the necessary steps to implement these new policies and aimed at fostering a generation of well-rounded ethical citizens. The Civil Service Regulations is amended to suspend retirement pensions for former civil servants who return to public service after retirement.
The amendment to the regulations states that if a retired employee is elected to public office or appointed to a job in a state or government-owned company, they will not be entitled to retirement pensions during their tenure. According to the regulations, the monthly pension payments will be dispersed from the month following retirement. The revised regulations state that retired individuals who resume public service or state employment must notify the Maldives Pension Administration Office. If the retired pension allowance is received during the period of employment without notification, the amount must be repaid to the state. State agencies that receive long-term pension benefits after retirement include Maldives Police Service, Maldives National Defense Force (MNDF), Maldives Customs Service, Maldives Immigration, and Maldives Correctional Service. Previously, retirees from these agencies were permitted to continue receiving pension payments even after assuming elected positions or any other state roles. However, following public concern, President Dr. Mohamed Moise pledged to change the relevant regulations to cease the practice.
Swipe, a multi-currency digital wallet by Bank of Maldives (BML), undergoes beta testing with businesses set to register on this platform by January 2026.
With the platform unveiled in October 2025, this beta testing stage is targeted at streamlining the service before Swipe is officially open to the public. Swipe enables fast, secure transactions, offering contactless QR payments, multi-currency transfers, and instant fund deposits via global debit or credit cards both in the Maldives and abroad. The app also provides spending analytics, catering to businesses by streamlining cash flow management. BML CEO and Managing Director Mohammed Sharif stated that the bank is working on inaugurating payment services and international transfers by January 2026. He said that Swipe will be expanding its services by partnering with noteworthy payment networks overseas in the first quarter, expanding its reach to the global market. Swipe aims to become an important tool for tourists, Maldivians abroad, and international business, while also being equipped with modern safety features and following both local and international guidelines. BML is committed to modernizing digital payments, allowing Maldives to progress in the global fintech sphere.
President Gustavo Petro said Colombia's government raises the country's minimum wage to $470, reflecting a 22.7% increase.
The new minimum wage, which applies to around 2.5 million workers across the Andean nation, will come into effect in 2026. The hike more than doubles the 9.54% increase made this year, which brought minimum wages to $380 and marks the leftist administration's last minimum wage hike before elections are held at the end of May 2026. It also surpasses predictions for next year's inflation, which central bank economists have estimated at 3.6%, down from the 5.1% projected for this year. Petro acknowledged the measure would put pressure on inflation. The new minimum wage was announced by decree after no agreement was reached between business associations and trade unions. Petro also announced an additional transport subsidy for workers earning up to 2 minimum wages a month, which combined with earnings will bring workers' total minimum remuneration to $541 per month.
U.S. President Donald Trump says that U.S. would quickly launch new attacks on Iran if it is rebuilding the nuclear program that he struck in June. Trump made the comment as he met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida, for talks on breaking a deadlock over the Gaza ceasefire and addressing Israeli concerns about Iran and Lebanese group Hezbollah.
Now I hear that Iran is trying to build up again, and if they are, we're going to have to knock them down. We'll knock them down. We'll knock the hell out of them, but hopefully that's not happening. I heard Iran wants to make a deal. If they want to make a deal, that's much smarter. You know, they could have made a deal the last time before we went through, a big attack on them.
Trump struck a decidedly supportive tone with Netanyahu, even as some aides and allies have suggested the Israeli leader was slow-walking elements of the Gaza ceasefire accord signed in October. Trump said he wanted to move to the second phase of the ceasefire deal between Israel and the Palestinian group Hamas, but that there has to be a disarming of Hamas. A ceasefire agreement in the conflict took effect on October 10th, but heavy Israeli bombardment and military operations in Gaza destroyed much of the territory's infrastructure and living conditions are dire. Since the ceasefire was declared, Israeli strikes have killed more than 400 Palestinians, most of them civilians, according to Gaza health officials. Trump said that Israeli President Isaac Herzog had told him a pardon for Prime Minister Netanyahu on corruption-related charges was on its way, an assertion Herzog's office was quick to challenge. FIFA President Gianni Infantino defends the ticket prices for the next year's World Cup in the United States, Canada and Mexico, citing heavy demands and the revenue it generates for the sport around the world. Earlier this month, fan groups had slammed the ticket prices, which are often several times more costly than equivalent matches in the 2022 edition. FIFA later launched a $60 ticket tier to make the tournament more affordable for fans of qualified teams.
In the last few days, you probably have seen there is a lot of debate about ticketing and ticket prices. So I was saying we have 6-7 million tickets on sale. And we started 2 weeks ago. Well, I can tell you because in 2 weeks, in 15 days, we received 150 million ticket requests. 150 million ticket requests. So 10 million ticket requests every single day. This shows how powerful the World Cup is.
The FIFA president said fans from the US have made the highest number of ticket requests, followed by Germany and the United Kingdom. In the hinterlands of Victoria's historic goldfields, gold hunter Kelly Smith dug through a leaf-covered forest, sifting shovelfuls of soil as her metal detector bleeped, only to uncover a round metal object that turned out to be a shotgun pellet.
Smith, from the country of Coonbrook, was prospecting with her partner during a training session organized by the Gold Center in Maryborough. The 50-year-old remained undeterred, saying she enjoys being in the bush while hoping to get lucky and find some gold. Smith's story is becoming more common across the country as hobbyists flock to Australia's 9,600 square kilometer Golden Triangle in the heart of Victoria State, known as one of the world's most prospective regions for gold nuggets. According to Reuters interviews with a dozen gold hunters, prospectors have been spurred on by record gold prices, social media, the success of TV show Aussie Gold Hunters, and a love for the outdoors. 72-year-old gold hunting tour guide Tony Mills said the largest nugget he has found weighed 80 ounces and that just 2 months ago he uncovered a 3.5-ounce piece as he pulled the flattened nugget about the size of a walnut from his pocket.
G'day, I'm Brent Shannon. I've been a gold miner and I'm part of Aussie Gold Hunters, and the gold price has been at record highs, and that's created a massive new interest in prospecting that I've seen. There are people everywhere starting to look for gold.
The lure of large nuggets is one of the draws of Damon Duke, 39, who works in construction. Duke used to go prospecting with his father, who died 3 years ago. Gold has chalked up successive records this year, surging above $4,500 a troy ounce on Friday. Goldman Sachs expects prices will reach $4,900 by the end of 2026, with further gains likely if private investors continue diversifying their portfolios amid geopolitical geopolitical and fiscal uncertainty. In Victoria, fossikers must buy a permit from the state government. The permit allows them to fossick using only hand tools and to keep any gold they find. Demand for the miners' right permits has hit all-time highs at almost 16,000 by November from early 11,000 last year, according to figures from Victoria's Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action, supplied exclusively to Reuters. In total, there are more than 100,000 active miners' right permits in Victoria.
That concludes news for now. Thank you for watching PSM News. Have a good day.